Everything in your life, your relationships, your health, your financial conditions, your very circumstances, is the outpicturing of your inner state. You may believe that chance or fate has placed you where you are, but that is not so. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. The world around you is not separate from you. It is yourself made visible. Today, we explore a profound truth. The life you desire already exists. It is not something you must chase or strive for. It is not out there, waiting for the perfect moment. It waits only for your recognition of it within. The power to manifest your dream life lies in the simple yet sacred act of assuming it is already yours, believing it with unshakable faith, and visualizing it until it becomes as real within as it will be without. This is not a lecture in hope. It is a lesson in law. The law that governs creation, the law that shapes reality, the law that makes the invisible become visible, responds not to effort, but to belief. You need not beg or force the world into alignment. You need only align yourself within. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Have faith not in a far-off future, but in the now. See clearly in your mind the world you desire, and you will step into it as surely as morning follows night. Your consciousness is the root of all creation. Everything you see, feel, experience, or encounter in the external world is born from the inner realm of your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. This world around you, the circumstances you navigate, the people you meet, the opportunities or obstacles you face, none of these are separate from your state of consciousness. They are, in truth, mirrors. They do not come first. They are reflections, and what they reflect is the content and quality of your inner life. When we say that consciousness is the only reality, we do not speak metaphorically. We speak literally. What you are aware of being, what you consistently accept as true about yourself and your life, must externalize. It is law, and this law is impersonal, unchanging, and exact. If you dwell in thoughts of lack, limitation, or fear, no matter how noble your goals, your world must conform to that internal frequency. You cannot plant seeds of doubt and expect a harvest of abundance. Likewise, if you inhabit a state of love, peace, and certainty, without needing the outer world to prove it first, you will begin to witness a world reshaped in that very image. The common error is believing that the external world has the final say. People try to manipulate conditions, work harder, plead with others, or wait for something to change before they allow themselves to feel whole, secure, or free. But this is an inversion of the true process. The truth is simple. The outer follows the inner. The effect follows the cause. If you want your circumstances to change, you must first change your assumptions, what you habitually accept as being true. This is not a one-time practice, but a continual return to the awareness of your inner power. You must become conscious of what you are being moment to moment. Are you being the person who already possesses what you desire? Are you walking through your day with the attitude of one who has already received? Or are you waiting for something external to validate the internal? To manifest your dream life, you must claim it first in consciousness, without waiting, without needing, without resistance. Everything begins and ends within. Even the people in your life show up according to your expectations and assumptions. If you believe you are overlooked, you will be. If you assume you are valued and sought after, the world will rearrange itself to reflect that belief. It does not ask whether your assumption is good or bad. Fair or unfair, it only knows how to echo what you are. In this light, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of it. Consciousness is not one part of the equation. It is the entire equation. And when you master your inner state, you master life, not by force, but by alignment. To transform your world, you must first awaken to this truth. Consciousness is the only reality. Everything else is simply the outpicturing of that truth in form. Assumption is the gateway through which all manifestations enter your reality. It is not a passive wish, nor a vague hope. It is a deliberate act of mind, a quiet, inward decision to accept something as true, regardless of whether your senses agree with it or not. The moment you assume your desire is already fulfilled, you plant the seed of that reality, and like every seed, it must grow in its own perfect time, provided you do not dig it up with doubt or contradiction. To live from the end is to imagine yourself already being the person you wish to be, already having the life you desire. It means stepping into the role inwardly, fully identifying with that version of yourself, and allowing your thoughts, emotions, and reactions to arise from that place. You do not wait for evidence. You become the evidence. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you persist in that state until the world can no longer deny it. This is a law, and laws are exact. When you assume something consistently and with feeling, the world must conform, because your reality is a mirror of your dominant assumptions. If you assume you are always struggling, the world must reflect that. If you assume you are deeply loved, opportunities and relationships must align to confirm it. What you assume becomes the mold into which life pours itself. You are not waiting on life. Life is waiting on you. The mistake many make is trying to reach their desires by effort alone, working harder, striving more, trying to manipulate the outside world without ever changing the internal assumption. But all effort that is not grounded in a change of being is ultimately futile. True manifestation begins with an inner movement, a shift in identity. You must mentally move into the state of the fulfilled desire and accept it as your new reality. This does not mean you ignore present facts or pretend in a superficial way. It means you give more reality to the unseen than to the seen. You walk through your day as though your desire is already accomplished. You speak, feel, and act from that place, not toward it, but from it. There is a profound difference between wanting something and assuming it is already yours. Wanting keeps it distant. Assumption draws it near and fuses you with it. This is the sacred art, to become inwardly one with that which you seek, so that the outer world has no choice but to yield. The assumption of the fulfilled desire is not imagination in the casual sense. It is imagination fused with faith, held with persistence. When you assume something with conviction, you give it permission to exist. An existence once claimed within must echo without. Your assumption is the cause. Your reality is the effect. Therefore assume wisely, consistently, and lovingly. For what you assume, you become. Faith is not a fragile wish, nor is it a desperate plea for something to happen. True faith is a calm, unwavering certainty, an inner knowing that what you desire already exists, even if no trace of it is yet visible to the senses. Faith does not require evidence, it is the evidence. It is the substance of things hoped for and the assurance of things not seen. When you possess faith in its purest form, you do not question, you do not wonder, and you do not wait anxiously. You simply know, and that knowing becomes your experience. Most people confuse faith with hope. Hope looks forward with longing, but remains separate from the outcome. Faith, on the other hand, lives in the outcome. It walks, speaks, and feels from the completed state. Faith is the act of stepping into the fulfilled desire mentally and emotionally, and remaining there regardless of appearances. It is the quiet authority that says, "It is done," even when the world says otherwise. The foundation of all manifestation is faith. Without it, imagination is scattered, and assumptions have no staying power. But when faith undergirds your inner world, every image you hold becomes magnetic, every assumption gains structure, and your desires begin to clothe themselves in physical form. Faith holds the vision steady while the world rearranges itself in accordance with your belief. To cultivate faith, you must become more loyal to your inner vision than to outer facts. If you are constantly reacting to what your senses report, you weaken your inner certainty. Faith means choosing the unseen reality over the visible one. It means believing in the harvest while the field still looks empty. It means persisting in the feeling of abundance while the bank account shows lack, or walking in love inwardly while facing rejection outwardly. This is not denial, this is divine discipline. The outer is temporary, the inner is eternal, and yet faith does not shout. It is not frantic or forceful. It is quiet, steady, and deeply felt. It carries no strain. It trusts completely. Once you declare inwardly, "This is mine," and you accept it without inner contradiction, the process of manifestation has begun. The time it takes to appear is irrelevant to faith, because faith lives in the now. It does not wait to rejoice once the desire appears. It rejoices now, because it already sees the fulfillment within. You are not required to know how your desire will come. That is not your role. Your role is to believe, to assume the state of already having, and to feel the peace that comes with that knowing. Life will take care of the how. Faith opens the door and holds it open until your desire walks through. Doubt closes it. Therefore, guard your inner certainty. Feed it daily with thought, feeling, and imagination. For what you hold in faith, you must one day hold in form. Imagination is the birthplace of all reality. Nothing you see in the outer world existed before it was first imagined. The clothes you wear, the house you live in, the technology you use, all were once invisible ideas in the mind of someone who dared to believe in what had not yet appeared. The same creative force is in you now. Your imagination is not a child's plaything. It is your divine faculty, your sacred workshop, the place where all future realities are conceived, shaped, and birthed into existence. To visualize is to create. Every time you see something clearly in your mind and feel it deeply in your body, you activate the process of manifestation. But not all imagination is equal. Casual daydreaming is fleeting. It passes without power. True visualization, the kind that transforms reality, is focused, emotionally charged, and repeated with faith and intention. When you imagine yourself already living your desired life, and you do so with genuine feeling, you are aligning your inner world with a version of reality that already exists in potential. The more often you visit that state, the more natural it becomes, until the line between imagination and reality begins to blur. The secret lies in emotional involvement. You must not simply see the scene, you must feel it. What would it feel like to be the person you want to be? How would your body respond? What thoughts would you think? What conversations would you have? What decisions would come naturally to you? To dwell in these feelings while you visualize is to impress them upon your subconscious mind, which then goes to work rearranging your world to match that inner blueprint. Imagination is not escapism. It is the most direct tool you have to reshape your experience. The outer world is malleable. It responds to the inner world like clay in the hands of the sculptor, but most people allow imagination to be led by fear and memory. They visualize worst-case scenarios. They dwell on what has been, and so they create the same life over and over again. To reverse this, you must become the conscious director of your inner scenes. Begin and end each day by stepping into the world you wish to occupy. Let your imagination show you the life that belongs to you. not the life that was given to you by chance or circumstance. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your emotional reactions begin to shift. You respond differently because you are no longer reacting to the old world. You are acting from the new. This is not fantasy. It is a rehearsal, and what you rehearse within must one day express without. The world responds not to what you want, but to who you are, and who you are is determined by where you dwell in imagination. Therefore, guard this sacred faculty, use it with purpose, visualize the end. Feel it as real, and know that what you consistently imagine with conviction must externalize. It is law. Persistence is the hidden ingredient in every manifestation. It is the quiet power that holds your inner state steady, even when the outer world tells you otherwise. When you first assume your desire is fulfilled, you may see no evidence of change. In fact, the world may appear to contradict your vision entirely. This is the moment where most give up. They allow appearances to dictate their truth. But those who persist, those who remain loyal to the unseen, are the ones who bring their desires into form. The world of appearances is not the truth. It is merely the echo of past beliefs, past assumptions, and past imaginings. It lags behind your inner world. It cannot instantly reflect your new state the moment you adopt it, for it is still catching up to your previous consciousness. If you abandon your new state too soon, you fall back into the old pattern, and the world simply mirrors that back again. This is why persistence is essential. You must remain faithful to your vision, not once or twice, but continually, especially when the outer seems unchanged. Do not ask the world for permission to believe. Do not wait for signs to prove you're on the right track. Your conviction is the sign. The moment you assume your desire is yours, you must walk in that assumption. You must carry yourself differently, think differently, feel differently, even if nothing outside has shifted. Your consistency within creates the shift without. This is not effort in the physical sense. It is discipline of awareness. It is choosing, again and again, to dwell in the state of the fulfilled desire. The senses will try to pull you back into doubt. The world will tempt you to react, to worry, to revert to what you used to believe. But you must resist this pull, not with force, but with understanding. You know the truth now. You know that outer reality bends to inner reality, not the other way around. So you persist, not because you're trying to force something, but because you understand that appearances are temporary illusions, and truth is internal. Persistence is not blind stubbornness. It is clarity. It is alignment. It is the awareness that no matter what you see, what matters is where you dwell in consciousness, when your inner world becomes immovable, when you no longer ask when or how, but simply know. It is only a matter of time before the outer must yield. Remain in the end. Visit it often. Let it become your dwelling place. Refuse to be shaken by delay, for delay is not denial. It is preparation. And when you persist in the assumption of your fulfilled desire, you become magnetized to its physical counterpart. The world rearranges itself with precision and grace to reflect the version of you that no longer wavers. Persistence is not struggle. It is stillness. It is remaining faithful to the unseen until it becomes the seen. You are the operant power. There is no force outside of you deciding whether or not you get to live your dream life. There is no external judge, no mysterious fate, and no invisible hand withholding your desires. All authority to create, to shift, and to manifest lies within your own consciousness. You are not waiting on permission. You are not hoping to be chosen. You are the one who chooses. You are the one who declares, and life unfailingly responds to that inner declaration. This truth is both liberating and sobering. It liberates you because it means you are not a victim of your circumstances, but it also places full responsibility in your hands. Whatever is showing up in your life right now, whether welcome or unwelcome, is not happening to you but through you. Your beliefs, assumptions, reactions, and self-concept are the blueprint upon which your reality is constructed. To change the blueprint, you must change the self that is imagining it. Far too often, people believe they must earn their desires, prove their worth, or wait for divine timing to bless them. But the truth is this: the power that creates worlds lives within you as your own awareness of being. The moment you recognize yourself as the source, everything begins to shift. You stop looking outward and begin the real work, inner alignment. You stop blaming, striving, or pleading, and you begin assuming, imagining, and knowing. You must accept that what you assume about yourself, life, and others becomes law in your world. This is not superstition. It is a spiritual law as certain as gravity. If you assume you are always overlooked, life will reflect that back in endless forms. If you assume you are powerful, loved, and chosen, life will mold itself to that assumption. The mirror cannot smile until you do, and the world cannot shift until you do. This understanding calls you to stop waiting for signs and start becoming the cause. Every transformation begins the moment you take ownership of your power. You do not need to ask anyone outside of you to change. You only need to change your own state of being. And once you do, the people, places, and situations in your life will reorganize themselves with astonishing precision. You are not a passive observer in life. You are its creator. The operant power does not beg it commands by assuming and believing. You assume the end, dwell in it, and live from it, knowing that the law is always working through you. You cannot escape your creative role, but you can choose to use it wisely, lovingly, and intentionally. To claim your dream life, you must first claim yourself as its creator. You must step into the role fully, without hesitation. You are not becoming powerful. You already are. The only thing left is to awaken to it. Speak as though you are, walk as though you are, feel as though you are, and the world will reflect it without fail. You are the operant power. Use it. You now stand at the threshold of your own becoming. What you seek is not outside of you. It is within, waiting for your recognition, your acceptance, your assumption. The power to shape your life, to call forth the unseen and make it visible, has never belonged to anyone else. It has always been yours. You are not a beggar before life's gates. You are the architect, the author, the creative center of your reality. Assume the highest and most beautiful version of yourself, not once, but consistently. Have faith, not in probability, but in certainty, that what you desire is already accomplished in the unseen. Visualize, not as idle fantasy, but as a deliberate rehearsal of your new identity. And persist, not in struggle, but in unwavering inner stillness, knowing that your assumptions, sustained in faith, must become fact. Do not be fooled by appearances. They are echoes of yesterday's thoughts. Instead, look inward. What are you imagining? What are you accepting as true? Where are you dwelling in consciousness? Answer these questions honestly, and you will understand why your life is as it is. But more importantly, you will understand how to change it, to live deliberately, to imagine boldly, to believe completely, and to persist confidently. You need no permission. You are the operant power. The life you desire is not waiting to be earned. It is waiting to be assumed. So go within. Assume your ideal. Feel it real and persist, because once you align with it in consciousness, the world must bow and reflect it. This is the law, and you, now awakened to it, are free.